recording. Welcome everybody to the DQNQ Lifestyle Podcast with me, Marcus. And it turns out that Andrew Tate has been arrested today, or last night, should I say. It seems it's people smuggling. It's got me thinking about like obviously I've been in prison and stuff, and so when I've come out, like I don't know if it just popped out when I was in, or as I've come out and it just come about, but I just don't know where it started. Do you know what I mean? But Andrew Tate, I haven't really watched anything. I've seen obviously seen like little clips and that, but I think it's all like out of context clips. It's quite funny. But anyone that mentions Andrew Tate like in conversation, like seriously, I think you're lost. I just think you're lost. Now some of what Andrew Tate says is what he says isn't new. Some of the stuff he says, you know what I mean, it's quite old knowledge. It's just the way he puts it across. He puts it across in a way like he could easily say some of the stuff he says in a way that's digestible by many. But obviously, the culture that, like the way the media culture, social media culture has, where it's progressed to. There's a documentary called The Creepy Line. I think it's called The Creepy Line. It's about Google, how they've like consistently pushed the creepy line forward into what's acceptable. Like they never go past it, they go right up to it. But then the creepy line moves, then they go right up to it again, like year after year. But yeah, so the way it's progressed now, social media, you know, it's all about clicks and views and being controversial. Nobody wants to see success stories, really. It's our need for sensationalism and these kind of things that pushes certain people forward. So we are like the consumer is a detriment to its own society, really. So we can't really complain. We can complain. Obviously, we've all got a right to complain. But it's all us. But anyway, I guess that's for anything though. Like cars, like emissions and stuff, ripping down the ozone layer and all these things or whatever, greenhouse gases and heating up the planet, and there's aerosols from like way back in when. I remember like growing up in school and watching something on Channel 4 or BBC 2 or something when they used to put educational programs on, and school used to record them and play them in class. Roll out the big telly with like, you know what I mean, it's like locked onto rolly trolley thing. Then it's got a VCR in a box with a lock. Where's key? Go and get keys. Go and get caretaker for keys. Can't find key. But anyway, and but we consume the cars. We want more and more cars. So I guess it's always us, do you know what I mean? Like, whatever, overfishing and all this and that, but we are eating all the fish. Like, so there's a need for the fish. Like, but anyway, I digress. We'll get into that sometime when we talk about capitalism. So I was just thinking about it anyway, and I just thought to myself, no, there's been a shift, it seems. So, but this is just through my perspective of growing up in my time, so people that are older or younger, or even people of my time, 80s babies, challenge me on this. So it seems to me that there's been a shift. Like, what came about first was like conspiracies that was latched onto. Like, you know, it might have started through like the World Trade Center stuff, or not really, obviously started there, but didn't come about from there. It come about from like the war in Iraq, where people started questioning stuff, and or Afghanistan, or wherever it was. You know what I mean? It was all over the place, except where the alleged people were from, their country. Anyway, that's another podcast. So yeah, it started there, and it might have started off with the pyramids or something. My thing started off with pyramids. Some people start off with aliens, but we all get into it somehow, and then we all go into our own thing. One sec, people. Turn that telly off. Yeah, so then we all progress into our own thing, and then I think like some loop back round, like mainly on the COVID thing, and people have come back. People that might have started off on the same conspiracy, the branch that everyone goes into their own stuff, and then they've come back round with their own like take on the possible COVID situation. So anyway, so it seems to me that like conspiracies were able to help people, myself included at a point. Not even at a point, still up till now, to be honest. It helped us reorganize our world and our society in how things are. So it's like we went from like some Lego, some Lego view of a town built up, some Lego town, to like some super realistic what it actually looks like, and it looks a bit rotten. You know, the ones there, and that was to all like I say, it was to it was able to help us organize our view of the globe, of societies, of people, of businesses, of cultures, and which we didn't really fully know, especially not when it's joined up like that. Because like in school, it seems to teach you like you don't seem to, what I can remember anyway from things like geography and stuff, even history. You talk about that. It's all talking about like it's like talking about the wheels of a car, and then talking about the back seat of a car, and then talking about one wing mirror of a car, and then talking about like the bonnet. But we're never talking about a car. We're never talking about all of it. And then they're not even like the main bits. They're pretty important. They all serve a purpose, but it's not the main bits, and we can't see how it works properly. Whereas conspiracies, I believe, did that. They filled in the gaps and they connected some dots. Obviously, a lot of conspiracies contradict other conspiracies, and the conspiracy theories, should I say. So some theories, contradict other theories, and that's just how it goes. You know what I mean? Because it's all people's, like, what's coming back at us is somebody's like perception and how they've interpreted the evidence provided. So we have to be careful in terms of like watching one documentary and believing it, because that's almost more crazy than believing the 15 years that you've been at school, or whatever it is, the 12 years of school. How long were we at school for? When do we go to school? But yeah, or whatever. So yeah, so it seems to have shifted from like a giant, well-rounded thing to now we seem to be focusing on individuals. So like we're looking for an individual to embody like how to interact with people on the street, in our houses, in our personal lives. Like, what do we do? Like, we seem to want to know how to think. We do not know what to do, it seems. So then you've got like your Jordan Petersons, you've got your Andrew Tates, and there'll be many others. I'm just going to mention these two guys. I have listened to quite a bit of Jordan Peterson because he goes down the psychology route. But where I don't agree with him is like when he starts going against, like, I don't know, like I don't know exactly where it is, but it's just what I've interpreted, bits I've seen, because you never know how it's been construed. Because he does say that he gets like, his stuff gets chopped and changed and stuff, and bits are left out, so you don't really know what's going on. But it seems that he didn't like when the law said that it had to call someone by a certain pronoun. My take on it personally, what I like, because I like to relate things to certain things, and history, as much as to try and tell us it's a timeline, it's linear, it keeps moving forward, it doesn't, not one bit. It's circular in my mind. Things come back around, as we can see with music trends, with clothes trends, with like financial trends, with just things in pattern. There's only 7 days in a week. There's not 44 million different like days. We come back round to Thursday. We come back round to that month. You know what I mean? Like, so no, don't tell us it. And then we go round the fucking sun. You know, the one's there, and the world goes round. You know what I mean? Right round, baby. Hey, Sugar Marcus. So anyway, yeah, so that I liken that to, like, let's just say, for example, like when my grandparents came over from Jamaica, and there would have been a time where he'd have been a black bee and an N and this and that at the workplace, and it was fine, and they had to like grin and bear it because they've come here for a better life and they can earn money to sustain themselves and send it back home to help out possibly the fucking rest of the village, the ones there, or the rest of the people back in or wherever. And so they just put up with it. And then what was it? The Equalities Act of 1976, I believe. I believe that's the year where people are to be treated equal, and these things aren't to be said. That people aren't to like cause upset people with these names. So I know guaranteed at that time when that happened, I'm going to talk about this kind of stuff in another podcast anyways. I'll just briefly just brush over, have a little glance. So there were people at that time when they saying, what, we can't see black, what? That fucking is my country. Fuck that, you know what I mean? Not telling me what to fucking say in my country. Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, so I just liken it to that. So I just don't fully agree with what you're saying there. But yeah, so just just people latching onto people now. So what it likens to, and a lot of times, I want to go down the religion route here. I'm Muslim, you know what I mean? That's what I choose to believe. And I don't think people realize fully what a belief system is. It doesn't just mean religion. A belief system is like how you believe women should be treated, how you believe you should be treated as a person, how you believe men should be treated, how you believe you should be treated in the workplace, how you believe, like, it's what you believe. You know what I mean? So I struggle to. I don't struggle one bit, to be honest. But what's that noise? Can you hear that? I'm scared. Yes, so sorry, I'm flipping. Lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, so religion. So religion gives you like a wider view of like society, people, like the world, how to look at it, how to behave in it, and then so does it gives you like a person as well. Each of the Abrahamic religions, I think most religions actually, they've just got one person. So we've got many people, many persons, and it's almost like, and like I don't really think too much. Don't get me wrong, there is. Like, I'm not even going to say that it's like it's all people that don't believe. It's not all people that don't believe. That is not correct one bit. I think it's a high percentage though. But yeah, where it is, because people are becoming disillusioned and stuff, and things aren't matching up, and you know, anyone's there. But the funny thing is, a lot of psychology comes from, like, if you was to read, like, or if you was to understand, like, the allegories, so it's like the stories within religion, the allegorical. So they could just say, like, don't steal, but they'll tell you an half an hour story into why to not steal, because a lot of times stories are more, penetrate more. As you can see from like the best YouTube channels, like they give you a feeling, like they'll start off feeling one thing at the beginning, and then towards the end you'll feel something else. Or where it's a film or something, it's all about the feeling. So like even that's just like, it's not taken from there, but it's that concept's been there for thousands of years, and it's just repackaged in a different way. It's like a lot of psychology, like if you was to know, especially like counselling. People used to be counselled in the church or in the mosque or in the synagogue. Is it synagogue? And possibly other places, temples, etc. So they just changed because people are giving that like that non-judgmental kind of approach, which is this counselling. It's just been changed, and they've just thought about it more and more, and they've gone more down that one piece, let's just say, of religion. Do you know what I mean? This isn't a religious podcast. This is just how I'm trying to, because compare and contrast is imperative to having balance when it comes to things. So like I was saying before, like we can't just watch one documentary or read one book and it change our, we have to kind of look at like the like, but no, it can, but just talking about some topics within it. So we could like compare to what we already know and contrast it against what we know. So what are the similarities and what are the differences? Compare, similarity, contrast, differences, to find our own understanding, because we just don't want to be copying what they're saying. We need to find ourselves within this, because another thing is, like, you see, actually I'm not going to get into that because that's another podcast. That's another one. We'll get into that on the next one. But yeah, that's just what I see. I don't know no female equivalents, because I think YouTube and my social medias obviously know I'm a man because that's how I've logged in. So they're not showing me that kind of stuff. I'm getting they're trying to push these guys on me. That's how I found them. You know what I mean? And yeah, so if you can tell me a female equivalent, I'd like to look to see if what I'm saying matches up, because obviously there is differences, and I'd like to see those differences, so I can compare and contrast. You know, them words there. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So that's my comparison there. Like, organization of the world, then being told what to do, just like in religion, organization of the world, and then obviously it tells you what to do, how to behave, and stuff like this. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think of that? Like, is this some new religions, new messiahs type thing like coming through? Because like I said, what they're saying, or it is before, like I was christened as a child, never went to church or anything, no one took me, this wasn't like a thing. Once my nana died, I didn't go again. I think I went once or twice, I can't really remember. I used to just fall asleep. There was only a kid. And, Christianity didn't really speak to me, because I didn't look into it though, and I didn't have a certain mind. It's only after doing therapy where they've opened my mind up to certain things and certain concepts, that when I was already a Muslim by then, and when I started looking at Islam again, it spoke to me even more now, because I had a deeper feeling, a deeper connection to it, because of how therapy had helped me, and where it had opened me up and took certain barriers down that I couldn't. So I was kind of pushing back a little bit, but I didn't know, because I wasn't aware of biases and stuff, and my beliefs, how there was a confliction of beliefs due to obviously growing up a certain way, and then struggling and feeling guilty about not being able to do certain things. But that's another podcast as well. What if a podcast a spin off from the thing, Hello, you're welcome. Yeah. So yeah, and that's for women. I can see that a lot of them have gone down the crystal route and the universe route. I haven't really seen men with crystals and stuff personally. When I say personally, I don't mean I've been around to everyone's house. I mean I've got a fair few people on socials and stuff, and just what comes up on the feed. Do you know what I mean? So stuff like that. Yeah, I just haven't seen men kind of do that. But I'm gonna have another podcast where I might touch on that as well. What's that for? But yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm just seeing there's a contrast, a comparison there. And it's just that gap is becoming apparent again. Because within Islam it says, it was given, the Torah came down, everything was cool. Oh, the world was mashed up. Everyone was just boom, 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 boom. Torah came down. Things sorting themselves out. Everything was blessed. It kind of went mashed up again. So then one of the Bibles came down, everything was blessed, everything mashed up again. The next Bible come down, everything blessed, mashed up again. Then the Quran came down, everything blessed, and it's mashing up again. I believe that's what it says. I haven't personally read that. That's what someone's told me, because there's obviously other books and stuff when it comes to Islam. You know what I mean? I say Islam and Islam intermittently, depends. Just I don't know. It just comes out how it comes out. It generally depends who I'm talking to. And right now, I'm talking to you, Reed, all of you. And so we're at that stage again where it is needing to be filled. And like I said, the stuff that these people are saying isn't too dissimilar from religion, from religious people, what they would say, but they're saying it in a different way. Got another podcast, you know what I mean? In terms of different wording and descriptions of what is in certain religious texts to what's used now. But you guys get it, and you guys will get it soon. Well, that's it for now. Just a little, it's not as quick as I thought it was going to be. Because me did do some digressing. I should call this the EQ and Qs don't quit, never quit, yeah? It's the mentality. Just get on something and stay on it. Positive, obviously. You know what I mean? Not talking about banging on the snizzle. But yeah, so just getting on a positive thing. I know it's hard. And just don't let no one drag you down. You don't want You don't want no bad thoughts on people. You don't want to get people back. No revenge. Listen, when I tell you that people get their just desserts naturally. Naturally. You know what I mean? Because they're not just being asked to you. They're being asked to others and things come back. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's just regret. Even if nothing ever happens to them physically. Even if it's just regret or something. But yeah, we're digressing again. So that's Digress Q&Q Lifestyle Podcast with me and me gone.